Welcome back, everybody. Just thought we'd do a little doom scrolling this morning, and I came across the following. This is a post by one of my fellow Canadians. Um, Canada has become a dystopian country filled with sex offenders, groomers, pedos, fake media, uniparty idiots, and globalists. They are taking advantage of our tax dollars to advance their agenda on us and our kids. Can we save it, or is it too far gone? And that's a general question that a lot of Canadians have, I feel. Um, Not all of them. Some of them are swallowing the liberal pill or drinking the Kool-Aid of whatever. But if you read through this this thread, a lot of people are very black-pilled, very doom and gloom type of thing. There's not a lot of hope and not a lot of optimism, even for uh, the opposition party or opposition to the current political establishment, Pierre Poilievre. He's the current de facto going to be prime minister according to polls and things. But even with that, people don't really have a lot of faith in him. I mean, he talks a good game, yeah, but anyway, if you read through this, it says a lot of things that a lot of people are feeling. Like it's just a microcosm of what's out there in the real world. Out there in if you go to Vancouver or Calgary or Toronto or Edmonton or uh, anywhere, and you talk to the average Joe or Jane on the street, this is a lot of what they would be saying. That you know we like this we know the current magnitude of the country and where it is going. Looking at the corruption, the first thought is to root it out as America is doing now. Yeah, that's a great sentiment, but then you go, not likely to happen. Too many people are bought and paid for. We're spiraling downward, unlikely to gain control. I feel like we were on a sinking ship in icy waters and the lifeboats are too far away to make it in time. I'm being a black pillar, but that's how I feel. Dude, that's a lot how most people feel, right? We had just so for you Americans that don't know, we had an election, I don't know, 4 years ish, 3 years ago. I can't remember. Hate Canadian politics so badly, I don't even follow them very closely, which is unfortunately part of the problem, right? A lot of Canadians are so black pilled they can't even stomach looking at our politicians. It's like, they're all slimy. They all have this same. Anyway, that being said, it's the problem, right? The problem is a lot of people are uh, doom and gloom and whatever. I firmly believe that if a referendum were to be floated as part of any federal election, I believe that a lot of people, the majority of people, would side with uh, the referendum to be annexed by the U.S. I really do, because of this, right? Um, these things like here, Canada's basic problem is the second largest country on Earth in land area. It only has 40 million people. It doesn't have the population or the economy to defend its territory. The US is no longer willing to defend it for free. That's true. The days of Canada being subsidized and defended by the US gone, right? We have a weak military that hasn't, like, we haven't spent any significant amount of money on the Canadian military for years, right? There's a joke that I first heard years ago that the Canadian military consists of a beaver, a canoe, and a jug of maple syrup. Yeah, that's might be a joke in the past. It's not far off from the truth, right? Broken equipment, outdated equipment. Heck, we bought two nuclear submarines that this is years and years and years ago, but there's two nuclear submarines that they purchased off of somebody. It doesn't matter who, but the country they bought them off of was decommissioning them because they're so old. Canada's like, oh yeah, these are great. We'll buy these. So they bought two of them. Yeah, they didn't really go anywhere. They were promptly, it was a big fiasco, scandal, whatever. They're I think this is early on in Trudeau's um, stint as prime minister. Yeah, they were promptly scrapped because they were absolutely ancient and, well, they were being decommissioned for a reason. Yeah. So here this guy has a good take on it. People listen to us so-called conspiracy theorists 16 to 20 years ago. It wouldn't have been too late, but sadly, I feel it is too late now. Yeah. 20 years ago, um, there was a real chance. 20 years ago, we had here in Alberta, we had a leader. His name was Ralph Klein. Ralph Klein was arguably one of the best prime minister, not prime ministers, premiers, which is the equivalent of a governor here in Canada, that Alberta has had in a long time, right? He did a great job. Uh, Unfortunately, we had several useless globalist WEF puppets that followed after him. But fortunately, we have Daniel Smith to help us out now. But I'm rambling. But what I'm the overall sentiment is Canada's too far gone. Right? There is no effective leadership. Sure, like I said, Pierre talks a good game, but nobody really has any real faith in it. He's too changeable. He's changed his tune too much. Hasn't really given definite hard answers for Canadians to want to follow. Um, it's just the way it is. So referendum to join the U.S., I believe, is at this point pretty inevitable. Um, yeah. So if it happens, that'd be great. I'd love to be part of the U.S. I know a lot of people would. There's a lot of questions and stuff that need to be answered, but I think it would be a good thing, in my opinion. So, but there is one thing that if Pierre wins and he really wants to make a change, this is a Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms. Ditch the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms in favor of this, the U.S. Bill of Rights, right? The Constitution of the U.S. Adopt that in its entirety. Change it to change it to Canada and all the relevant areas, but this. If you adopt this in its entirety, there's enough checks and balances built into the U.S. Constitution that should Canada adopt it in its entirety, that would that could have a chance of saving the U.S. But getting that adopted would take a supermajority, which is what is projected for Pierre. So if Pierre really wants to save Canada, this is how you save Canada. Adopt the U.S. Constitution in its entirety, all the checks, all the balances, every jot, every tittle, everything that is the U.S. Constitution. If you adopt that in its entirety, then and only then do I feel Canada could truly be saved. Otherwise, we will be turned into a WEF puppet controlled by China and the Chinese mafia. That's it. So sorry to go doom and gloom on you there, but kind of a black pill moment here in Canada. There's not a lot of hope. Um, anyway, that's all I've got for you. If you like what I do, drop a comment in the below. If there's anything you want me to cover as relates to things Canadian, just let me know. I'll do my best to research it and get back to you on that. Thanks for watching. Talk to y'all later. Have a good day.